Here are 3 more Saw traps that would be absolutely impossible to survive. Up first is the water cube from Saw 5. The victims wake up with this glass tube over their head that's completely bulletproof and impossible to break. As soon as the timer starts, water starts pouring in, meaning that you're more or less going to drown. Now, if you saw Saw 5, you know that it's kind of possible to survive this trap, but you have to be extremely lucky. You gotta have a pen on you, and you have to be a little bit intelligent to see where you want to stick that pen so that the water starts to, pee out. But me, I'm dead. Up next is the silent circle. Now, you're not only inside of a straitjacket with these metal bars pointing at your neck, literally waiting for them to unalive you. Key for the straitjacket is inside of you with a hook at the end. The objective is to have someone else come and grab it, and if you make a noise loud enough, it'll trigger the thing and the bars will go into you, obviously unaliving you. Now, if somehow you can deal with pain that crazy, then you may be able to survive this trap. But I'd be crying when I stub my toe, so it's not gonna work for me, I'm dead. And finally is the pendulum. This trap was made by Detective Hoffman, badass character, for someone who did some stuff to his sister. Now, even if you're able to escape this trap by destroying your hands, the pendulum will still continue to go down, meaning that you're not surviving no matter how good you think you are. The craziest thing is Hoffman designed this thing to pretty much frame Jigsaw, if they ever found whoever this was, or if they ever found the trap itself. It was made to look like Jigsaw made it, because obviously he didn't want the heat on him. Like and follow for more.
Breaking news, a judge has ruled not to throw out the indictment against Bryan Kohberger. Regarding cameras in the courtroom, the judge said he will not ban them, he will just take more control over them. The judge also stated that this morning's hearing was sealed because they discussed grand jury information that could not be provided to the public. The judge then stated this morning's hearing was sealed because they discussed grand jury information that could not be provided to the public. The defense argues that the indictment should be thrown out because the grand jury was given wrong instructions. The judge then replied saying it was the same instructions the grand jury has received for 100 years. The prosecution then argued why it should not be thrown out. They said, quote, "There is nothing to see here. The Idaho Supreme Court has ruled on this issue."
In honor of spooky season, here's some morbid facts about some classic horror movies. After filming Psycho, actress Janet Leigh was so terrified of showers that she only took baths for 35 straight years. On the extremely rare occasion that she did take a shower, she made sure that every door in the house was locked and left the shower curtain open. Real skeletons were used in the filming of Poltergeist because it was cheaper than making prop ones. The actress wasn't told they were real until after the shooting was finished. One of the actors in the original Exorcist went on to become an actual serial killer. Paul Bateson, who plays a nurse in the film, eventually confessed to the killing and dismembering of 6 gay men throughout the 1970s. He was released from prison in 2004 and his current whereabouts are unknown. Real bees were used during the filming of the 90s horror trilogy Candyman. Over the course of the 3 movies, actor Tony Todd was stung 23 times and was paid $1,000 per sting. The gory horror film Cannibal Holocaust was so realistic that the director was charged with murder. Cast and crew members had to appear before an Italian court to prove that the film's special effects were not actual depictions of torture.
By the end of this video, you're not going to be able to look at this photo the same way. This photo looks completely innocent, a middle-aged man reading to a bunch of kids. But this man is Paul Schaefer, and he's the leader of one of the worst cults you've probably never heard of. Paul was a Nazi during World War II, and after the war, he fled to Chile to basically start his own prison camp. I talk about it more in this week's podcast episode, but he brought a bunch of other Germans to Chile under the guise of "let's escape Germany." But once they were all there and he had them in the middle of nowhere, he started subjecting them to torture. And unfortunately, no one got it worse than the children in the camp. Upon arrival, kids were stripped from their parents, told they no longer had parents, and were beaten if they tried to talk to them. Pal also started a hospital in the area, which was just a way for him to abduct local Chilean boys. If a young boy went in for a checkup, he would have the nurses sign adoption paperwork and he wouldn't return the boys to their families. And this is all because Powell was an abuser of the worst kind, and he did all this to create a society where he basically had unfettered access to young boys. And eventually, he turned his cult into a death camp. There are over 600 people who went missing at this camp, and most of them are local Chileans. Anyways, this whole story is so wild, and I encourage you to listen to the whole thing in this week's episode.
This guy met his soulmate at a haunted house. I'm gonna show you the video, but try not to laugh.
They call me Cuban Pete. I'm the king of the rumba beat.
If you see this, then call the police. Recently, people have found these in Airbnbs and hotel rooms. They are tiny screws found in furniture and door frames, but hidden inside is a tiny surveillance camera. It's believed people are installing these for two reasons. One, to make sure the guest doesn't mess up the Airbnb or hotel room, and two, which is to spy on the guest. These hidden camera screws transmit a live feed, and can also be recorded and posted online. Another thing to look out for is coat hooks in public bathrooms. These coat hooks may look innocent, but people actually put these in public bathrooms. Inside the coat hook is a hidden camera. These tiny cameras are hard to spot, but these camera coat hangers normally have two hooks, whereas a normal hanger would only have one hook. One more thing to look out for is if someone puts a coin in your car door handle. Criminals do this to parked cars. When the car drives off, the criminals will follow. Then when the car's owner parks up and tries to lock the car won't lock. The coin in the door handle prevents the car from locking. The criminals then open the door and steal the car.
So I just finished a really creepy book last night, and it's called The Cluck. It's written by the same guy that wrote Playground, Saw Traps, but with kids. You know the story. But The Cluck is about these two men that see an ad in the paper to spend the night with this woman for free. They figure, why not? They get to the house, they let themselves in, and then there's this man there. And he's like, hey, everything's cool or whatever, I just want to watch. I'm her husband. They're pretty freaked out by this, but they're also like, we're already here, why not? They go in, they do the deed, they leave, but they keep thinking about the guy's eyes. They're just black oblivion, just this abyss of black. Fast forward over the next few days, they start having encounters with other women, but when those start, they start seeing this man again. And he's telling them to mutilate themselves. He's like this demon. I don't want to spoil the rest of it. I literally sat down and read it all in one go. If you want to check it out, I linked it here. And if you click here, you can see all the books I review.
Breaking news Thursday, October 26th. Bryan Kohberger has two major hearings today to get his indictment dropped. Today there are two separate hearings, one at 9:30 a.m. and one at 1 o'clock p.m. The first hearing to get the indictment thrown out is going to be behind closed doors. This hearing is closed to the media and all of the public because they will be discussing grand jury issues. The defense says they have over 24 issues that the state violated. Some of the factors that they gave and why the indictment should be thrown out are the following: a biased grand jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, prosecutorial misconduct in the form of withholding exculpatory evidence. In the second hearing that will take place at 1 o'clock p.m. PT, they will discuss an error in grand jury instruction or the alternative remand for preliminary hearing. As always, I'll keep you guys updated as soon as developments happen today. What do you guys think? Drop in the comments.
This is everything you should know about the mass shooting that just happened. Last night at 7 p.m. in the city of Lewiston, Maine, a man walked into a bowling alley called Just in Time and began shooting. The suspect, who we now know is 40-year-old Robert Card, drove from the bowling alley to the bar, which was 4 miles away, and began shooting again. At this point, there's 18 people deceased and 13 others were injured. Robert is still on the run, and police have advised everyone in the city to be careful and stay home. Now, what do we know about Robert Card? Robert's enlisted in the U.S. Army Reserve and has an active military ID. He's also been recognized a number of times with awards and medals while serving. But something that I should know is that back in July, the commanders in the Army Reserve were extremely concerned with Robert because he was just behaving erratic. They called police and he was evaluated and then put into a mental health facility for 2 weeks because he said that he was hearing voices in his head that was telling him to shoot up the military base. Which I'm no specialist or anything, but 2 weeks in a mental health facility to help someone who's having these kind of thoughts, I don't think that's enough time. What's absolutely devastating is that one of the victims last night, who worked at the bar, was fatally shot when he tried to attack the shooter with a knife. Robert's family has been working with police and investigators to find Robert, and they've asked him to surrender.
Breaking news, they have arrested the real-life Michael Myers who was going around attacking people. Omaha, Nebraska officials say on Thursday they had 2 suspects in custody. Only one of the 2 suspects has been identified, as the other is a minor. 20-year-old Jordan Payne along with a 17-year-old girl both face charges. All 3 of these incidents occurred on Monday. The first call was shortly after 6 p.m. on Mockingbird Drive. 15 minutes later, near L Street, was another one. The third incident took place just after 7 p.m. near a home. All 3 of the victims also gave the same description of a man wearing a Michael Myers mask. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.
Police have just surrounded a house. where they believe Lewiston, Maine shooter Robert Card is currently hiding in. This is happening live right now at the time that I'm making this video.
They're being very calm and patient. He just said, I do realize this may be intimidating for you, but we need you to come outside. So, honestly, the posture from law enforcement has been pretty calm and under control. The officers rolled up here quietly. The commands have been measured. We have not seen that real sense of urgency yet. At this point, it appears as if the officers are really trying to plead with this individual to come out of the house.
The 40-year-old suspect, Robert Carr, went on a shooting spree in Lewiston, Maine yesterday, killing at least 18 people and injuring at least 13 more, when he went to a bowling alley during Youth League night and opened fire. Like I said, this is going on live right now, and I'll keep you updated. Hopefully they get this guy out of that house tonight.
Breaking news, there's now an active warrant out for Janelle's husband, David. Yesterday, Wednesday, Janelle attended court regarding Jace's case. Barbara and Jace arrived at the courthouse around 2 p.m. and Janelle followed about 10 minutes later. Sources say that it was a quick hearing and the judge wanted to make sure everything was going smoothly at Barbara's with Jace. The judge heard that Jace is enrolled in school and everything is going well. So things going forward will remain as they are and he will remain in Barbara's care. In addition, following the crime that occurred on September 28th against Jace, a warrant has been issued for David's arrest. This was confirmed by the clerk of courts that said, quote, I don't see anything that has been served, but there is a warrant out for his arrest. Regarding the warrant being issued, Janelle has said there isn't any warrant issued. Once again, media lying again. It's getting insane at this point. Don't believe the Sun or the Ashley or these stupid Teen Mom fan pages because, like I said, they get their sources and they don't check them beforehand. I'll keep you guys updated on any developments. What do you think? Drop in the comments.
The Lewiston, Maine mass shooting suspect, Robert Card, is still on the loose. Earlier today, police had a house surrounded, but he wasn't there.
We're in Lewiston, Maine, once again tonight, where police say an Army reservist killed at least 18 people and wounded more than a dozen others last night. We've witnessed some tense images the past few hours of authorities outside the suspected shooter's home, but it ended up being a false alarm. Turns out, at least they believe he was not inside. We have just learned authorities believe this was not a completely random attack and that he had connections with the locations he allegedly targeted. They believe his ex-girlfriend was at one of those locations.
On Wednesday, Card shot up a bowling alley in a bar, killing at least 18 people and injuring at least a dozen more. He is still out there somewhere. They're not even sure if he's still in Maine. A shelter-at-home order was in place last night. I don't know if it still is, but people need to be careful. Because if this guy will shoot up a bowling alley on youth night, he'll do just about anything. Please stay safe, people. Bye for now.
Breaking news, they have now announced 5 of the victims in the Maine crime spree. The first victim, 76-year-old Bob Violet, was a longtime children's bowling instructor and was working with the Youth League when the crime took place. The second victim, Joseph Walker, was the bar manager at the bar and grill where the crime took place. He attempted to stop the crime and that is what took his life. The third victim, 53-year-old Tricia Aselin, worked part-time at the bowling alley and was bowling just for fun when the crime took place. The fourth victim, Stephen Bozella, was married just a year ago and he was at the bar and grill playing cornhole. This was a tournament for deaf adults. The fifth victim, Bill Brackett, was also at the cornhole tournament. 2 of the wounded that they announced was Zoe Hutchinson, 10 years old. She was grazed when her and her mother took shelter together. Another wounded was 23-year-old Justin Karcher. He is currently on a ventilator in the ICU and doctors have to, quote, keep resuscitating him. In addition, he has also undergone emergency surgery. The suspect is still at large, and though they did find his vehicle near a boat ramp last night, his boat is now missing. He has a 15-foot bayliner that is currently unable to be located. At this time, they are trying to determine if he escaped using the vessel. 5 Coast Guard officers have been patrolling a nearby river. They said, quote, there's so many unknowns, we're doing our due diligence until we get more information. At this time, they have issued a warrant for the first-degree murder, which will likely climb as more of the victims are identified. Authorities say they are staying tight-lipped on the situation and investigation as it is still ongoing. To keep you updated, click on the playlist below. I'll keep you guys updated on developments. What do you think? Drop in the comments.
What is the secret to a successful marriage.
Some of you listeners are like, oh, come on, don't say this. I'm like, it's not cliche. It's true. If you can pull off loving Jesus more than your spouse, you got a chance. All marriages are fail in divorce, or you end up living together as glorified roommates. That fire goes out. So you got to do a few things. One is tap into the source where love actually comes from. And that's Jesus. It also allows you to have a reference point. So both of you, as you grow closer to Jesus, according to a biblical model, you are getting closer to each other as you move toward that similar point. Otherwise, you're not the same dude that you were 10 years ago. Do you have any chance that you're going to be the same dude you are now in 10 years?
No.
No, you're going to be different.
This is a disturbing moment when two teens laughed as he intentionally ran over a man on a bike and took his life. On August 14th, 18-year-old Jesus Ayala and 16-year-old Zamir Keys ran over 64-year-old Andy Probst as he rode his bike early in the morning. Andy, who was a retired police chief, went flying 96 feet away and was later taken to the hospital where he passed away. The teens recorded the entire thing and then posted it online where it went viral. In the video, they could be heard laughing, and then one of them said, "Hit his ass," and then they fled. Now, this is where things get super disturbing. Recently, the teens appeared in court, but as they sat there, they can be seen laughing and giving Andy's family the finger. But this was not their only hit and run. On that same day, they also hit a 72-year-old man, but luckily he survived. And of course, they recorded that as well. But the entitlement of these teens is absolutely disgusting. One of them can be heard telling the police officer when he got arrested that he won't be in there for too long and he'll be out in 30 days. I say lock them up forever because people like this have no soul.
This influencer was just murdered on a live stream in front of millions of people, and they may have the wrong person behind bars. 23-year-old Mia Starr was a huge influencer. I mean, we're talking tens of millions of followers. She's about to present at this huge influencer ceremony. It's called the Replay Awards, just a giant event, and this was the culmination of all of her success. And well, she was so excited that she started a live stream backstage in the dressing room before she was about to go out so that her army of fans, her Starmy, as it were, could come along for the ride. But what those 4.2 million live viewers ended up witnessing that day is something they could never unsee. Police basically immediately zero in on Anna Palmer, who's this super fan, you could even say fanatic, who was president of this Mia Starr fan club. The only problem was Mia's fans said, "Nuh-uh, nope. This can't be the culprit." Sure, Anna was at the ceremony on the night, but there were a slew of other suspects, including Mia's boyfriend, Luke. The two had gone through some turmoil, and, well, he went radio silent right after her murder. They actually just reopened this case, and now you can take a stab at who killed Mia. I actually had a blast playing this game, and if you're into true crime, you are gonna love this. It ain't your average murder mystery game. Yes, you get multiple files of physical evidence, but they also give you digital evidence that you scan with your phone. At one point, you literally hack into Mia's phone. And lots of twists and turns with this one. I was actually wrong on who I thought the killer was in the end. Man, whether you've played a murder mystery game or you've never played one, this is the one to play. Want to give it a go? It's on Amazon and in-store at Walmart and Target. Also a link in my bio.
This 14-year-old kid was arrested for building a clock. In 2014, Ahmed wanted to share a digital clock he made with his teacher. However, it was confiscated because apparently it looked like a bomb. He was then arrested and given a 3-day suspension. His story went viral on social media because everyone believed that he was targeted for being Muslim. Fortunately, the charges were dropped and he was actually invited to the White House to show off his clock to Obama.
You know what I do when I have a bad dream? I close my eyes and I think of something nice.
So let's go sailing.
Wind's dropped out on us.
Get below deck now. Get the life jacket. Oh, thank God. Hello? Where's everybody?
You enter a place you have never been.
I recognize this corridor.
Everything you see, you have seen before.
It's starting over again. That's what's going on. Everything that happened to you before. He's dead! changed the pattern. We changed the pattern and we're trapped. Who are you?